Hi readers, Chris here. Today I'm going to be talking about A Forgery of Roses by Jessica S. Olson. This is a YA fantasy, kind of a murder mystery type book. I got it in one of my Owl Crate book boxes earlier this year. I've been trying to read a lot of these book box books, but say that 5 times fast. Book box books. Anyway, but I feel like I've been struggling with them. If you saw my August wrap up, you will know this was my least favorite book of the month. And I'm going to tell you why. And then maybe you could help me figure out if maybe I should stop reading these types of books. So the basic setup of this world, of this book, is that in this world, people use art as a form of magic. So the deity of this world, they don't call God, they call the artist. So instead of someone saying thank God, they say thank artist, thank the artist. And we have a young girl named Myra who is an artist. She likes to paint, but she also has the ability to use magic through her artwork. Now, I'm going to try to explain how that works, but this is one of the problems I have with this book, is that I don't think it does a good job of explaining how it works. So here's just one paragraph. This is from book, like the first chapter, so it's not really a spoiler. It's to help set up this world. So it says, prodigy magic, which flows through my body just as it did through Mother's, gives an artist the ability to alter human and animal bodies with their paintings, and it is considered by the church to be even more of an abomination than normal portrait work. So, at a very basic level, these painters, these artists, supposedly have the ability to alter someone's appearance through the use of their art. And how that works is allegedly, she paints a picture of like what you really look like. She paints a picture of what you should look like, and then some sort of magic happens, and etc., etc., etc. So Myra has this gift, but currently, like the governor of the town, they're kind of against this portrait magic for, it doesn't really explain why, just people don't like it apparently, and so all these artists have been disappearing. So Myra is working at this art studio, but she's trying to hide the fact that she has any magic. All of a sudden, the governor's wife wanders in one day and says, "Hey, I need an artist." Things happen, and she ends up offering Myra a job. She's like, "I'm going to give you all this money so that you can live your dreams, so that you can take care of your family, if you will help me use your magic to bring my son back to life." Yes, that's right. The governor's son has died under mysterious circumstances, and Myra is supposed to paint him back to life. Now, in my eyes, in my mind, I feel like that bringing someone back to life goes way beyond altering someone's appearance. So again, I have no idea how that's supposed to work. So Myra goes to the governor's house, and while she's there, she meets August. August is like the older son. The younger son, Will, is the one that died, and Myra and August start to try and figure out how Will died, because for some reason, again, not explained very well, Myra can't simply paint Will back to life. She has to know specifically how he died so that she knows how to, like, fix it, I guess. So on one hand, we have the setup for like a murder mystery. We have a young girl with a gift. Some people know she has the gift. They're trying to hide it from others, trying to figure out who killed Will, and blah, 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 blah. So that part of the book I actually was interested in. I was like, oh, okay, this is going to be really cool, like a magical murder mystery. There's a lot of good stuff going on here. But about like the midpoint of the book, something happens and Myra ends up leaving. She ends up leaving the residence, the governor's residence, and then everything that happens after that is like really strange. I can't think of a better way to say it, but the plot goes in a really weird direction where yes, it's still kind of about figuring out who killed him, but it's also about like figuring out what's happened to the other, artists that have disappeared. So that's like the really basic setup of the book. And as you can tell, I had a big issue with the world building and the plot of this book. Like the whole magic just did not make any sense to me. And there was one other brief paragraph I wanted to read here because maybe it's just me. Maybe it's just me. But this is from like the middle of the book where Myra has like discovered a journal basically, and it says in here prodigy magic is based on fervora. It's written in this weird script, so I don't even know if that's actually the word or how it's pronounced, but prodigy magic is based on fervora, which is attached to the brainstem. Powerful severin extend from it into the brain and out to the body. Fervoa are present only in prodigy specimens. I have no idea what that means. I have no idea what that means. I don't know. But when a prodigy alters another prodigy, the severin the painter acquires from the subject is permanent. Example, painting away an injury from a prodigy results in the permanent sensation of that injury to the painter. So I guess that means to me that if Myra were to use her magic on another prodigy, instead of just like healing them or altering the appearance, she would be stuck with whatever. I guess. Again, I don't know. I don't know. And this was about the part about midway through the book where I kind of stopped caring. Like at that point, I didn't want to figure out what was going on. I just kind of went with it. So by the time it gets to the end and like what happens at the end, it made no sense to me. It made no sense to me. Let's just say that Myra gets into a situation and she uses her magic, her painter magic to like escape, but how she uses it made no sense to me. It made no sense to me. So I was just kind of like, okay, whatever. So other than the world building and the plot, which weren't that great, I also want to talk about the characters as well. So Myra is basically like any other young female character that you've ever read in a YA fantasy before. And I read a lot of YA fantasy. I do. I read a lot of YA fantasy, but I've been having this problem, especially this year, where I feel like every single young YA fantasy female, they're all the same. They're like all exactly the same. They all have like some sort of struggle. They all have like some big dream that they can't achieve. They all are like, they're come from poor backgrounds. They're underprivileged. They don't have this, but they're always spunky and, just good enough to succeed at, their mission. So it's really made me wonder, like, am I just over it? Am I just over YA fantasy? Maybe I shouldn't read these books anymore because all the characters are the same. They're all generic female. In this one, Myra has a little sister who is sick. So everything she does is for my sister. I'm reading another book right now where a girl has a sick father and everything she does is to help her sick father. Like there's always some sort of, family member that's ill or poor or whatever. So I really don't know. I'm really starting to feel like stuck. But I will say on the flip side, when I've gone back and looked at every single book I've read this year, there are YA fantasies that I have really enjoyed. The Selection, which I guess is kind of dystopian more than fantasy, I really like that. Crave, the vampire kind of Twilight book, I liked that. And the new Cassandra Clare books, I forget what it was called, but I'll put it up here. I'll find an image of it. But I like that one as well. So I don't think it's me. I just think that I have high expectations, and this book did just not live up to those expectations. It just didn't. Myra was a fine character. Like I said, she wants to go to some fancy pants art school. She has a sick sister, blah, 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 blah. There is one thing that I will give this book credit for, one small thing, and that is Myra's younger sister, her younger sick sister. She's not in the book very much because she's usually like ill. She's kind of like half alive, half awake all the time. What ends up happening to her at the end, which I'm going to have to be very vague about because I don't want to give away the spoiler, but what happens to her is basically like, it's one of those things where things get marginally better, but they're not like 100% perfect. And I do appreciate the fact that it's not, oh my God, my sick sister is perfect and we're happy and we have everything we want. It's a little more realistic, which I do appreciate. I do appreciate that. This is a complete story. It does leave like a little bit of wiggle room if for a sequel at some point, but I can definitely say that I will not be reading the sequel to this one. There's also a romance in this book, which I have not even gotten into, but again, it is a very, very generic YA type romance. Like there is nothing fun about it, nothing special about it. Yeah, it's pretty PG, vanilla, kind of lame, and that really, I feel like the romance wasn't even needed. Like, it did not add anything to the story. It was not needed. It was not necessary. And I almost feel like it was put in there because it's a YA fantasy about a young girl and there has to be a romance. Like, I feel like that's the only reason that it was there. So because I disliked this book so much, I now have a conundrum, and that is, what do I do with this book? Because it's a very pretty book. It's got these red sprayed edges, and it also has this pretty foiling on the inside cover. It's got this beautiful reverse dust jacket. There's Myra and August, lame couple, very lame couple. It looks so pretty, and it's so lame, which makes me really sad. I think I'm gonna call it a day there. That ends my rant on A Forgery of Roses. Not my favorite book, but hey, that's just my opinion. Have you read A Forgery of Roses? Did you like it? Let me know. I would love to hear from someone who actually liked this book. Hopefully you liked this video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up. If you're not already, please subscribe to my channel for more bookish stuff coming your way soon. All right, everyone, happy reading.